My name is Jrol from the From Collective, Grand General of the 3rd Rapid Response Army. Today I stand before this council to explain what happened during my deployment on Neopra, or more precisely how we survived Neopra. Jrol was still not quite sure if what happened truly happened, or if he was in a really realistic dream in his last moments, still on this god's-forsaken planet. The all-AI invasion was, even 2 standard months after the battle, fresh in his mind. To calm himself, he grabbed with one tentacle onto his podium for support, while he drank a bit of water with another, before he continued. I will, from this point forward, refrain myself from being formal or even polite. His gaze wandered to the human representative in the council, specifically after his statement. They saved us, but humans are batshit insane. And I don't mean some humans, I mean every single one of them. From the designers, the engineers, pilots, generals, to the least experienced soldier grunt they deploy. I can't stress this enough. Every single one of them is batshit insane. Jrol took a deep breath to recover from his outburst, and noticed a vile grin forming on the human's face. That brought his blood back to the boiling point, but he continued as calm as he could. But let me explain. My assignment on Neopra was to relieve the 1st and 2nd Ground Armies of the From Collective, link up with the artillery detachment of the 3rd, and break the encirclement of the city of Grov to rescue the 3rd Army from complete destruction. The human ambassador for foreign affairs sent the 42nd Ground Relief Battalion, God's Hammer, with the 1st and 5th Fighter Bomber Wing of the 7th. OAF, Orbital Assault Force, and the carrier Hellfire to support and assist me in my assault and landing on Neopra. If necessary, they would provide distraction and a rearward operating base with a mobile reserve. To put it kindly, Intel fucked up big time. Instead of the expected enemy force of a maximum of 200,000 soldier drones with support elements attached, we faced no less than 2 million soldier drones, 500,000 tank drones, and at least 30,000 heavy artillery drones. Backed up by more than enough fighter, bomber and surveillance drones to take the entire planet in less than a week. All of them in and around Grov. Our outside armies damned to watch as they carried out their assault of the city. My own army dropped, as per protocol, 40 clicks behind friendly lines and moved quickly, and still unaware of the situation due to poor weather over the city, and therefore no orbital surveillance, to link up with the rest of our forces. Once at the front line, we could only watch as the drones of the rogue AI finally took the city and tried to establish a minor core to its existence, finally solidifying itself into the outskirts of Galactic Society territory. Before we could mourn our fallen 3rd Army and retreat to a safe place to extract our remaining forces, though, the AI turned the attention of its army against us. This is where the insanity of the humans took place. We fought tooth and nail to keep our perimeter as safe as we could, or requesting hot extract from human Admiral Connor McAllister on board the Hellfire, the 2nd Army taking heavy losses in the process. Admiral McAllister denied our request with the words, "Let my boys at least have some fun first. They are dying to get on ground and kill a few baddies." With that, he denied our concos and remained radio silent until his next action. Not 2 minutes later, the Hellfire itself. For clarity, the Hellfire is strictly a carrier group packed in one singular vessel, 4 kilometers long, 3 wide and 1 high. From its size, it dwarfs an Emperor-class battleship of the Collective by scale 3:1. The Hellfire descended into the atmosphere and started opening fire on the AI forces, whilst we thought, at the time at least, several thousand meteors slammed into the city and its surroundings. Hellfire cast literal hellfire with his artillery, railguns and fighter bombers on the AI, and dispatched most of his air forces in mere minutes, whilst relieving our AA batteries so they can try and clear some ground targets. She came in guns blazing into an environment that was not meant to be housing a vessel its size. At this point, McAllister resumed radio contact, and said that the AI would have a difficult time in the city, now that his boys are on the ground. Jrol picked the small remote from his podium and clicked a few buttons with his tentacle, to start the recording of comms traffic. Jrol, continuous blast fire and shouting in the background, angry, desperate tone. "McAllister, what the fuck are you doing? You are support!" McAllister, deafening silence in the background aside from some clicking noise, jovial tone. "My boys are on the ground now, so the AI can't establish itself on this planet. But I'm kinda low on troops now, so I figured I'd come to get you myself." Jrol, confused. "Low on troops? But you didn't deploy any." McAllister, audible grinning. Of course I did. I deployed the entirety of God's hammer directly into its face. Jules stopped the recording to save the council the headache to filter through his profanities in the following conversation, and continued. What we thought to be meteors were antimatter cloaked Mark 11 rapid deployment pods. Literal artillery shells with 2 soldiers inside, fired at 0.5% the speed of light onto a planet. Upon impact, they would explode with a small antimatter payload, obliterating every and anything on the ground, while simultaneously deploying its troops for the explosion. The troops were carrying the Mark II bolter antimatter machine gun, the fuck-off self-loading portable railgun, and the "this wasn't a suggestion" space-time mortar. To explain the nicknames, that is what the soldiers are calling them. To the weapons, well... The bolter is a submachine gun that fires caliber 50 antimatter rounds, with 300 shots per minute and carries a 30-round magazine. Each soldier has at least 4 of these magazines on his exoskeleton, and can deploy them, either as an entire magazine, or single rounds as a kind of hand grenade too. The fuck-off is like what the collective soldier's semi-automatic energy rifle is, but fires depleted uranium slugs with 0.1% the speed of light, instead of lasers. Finally, the mortar. The humans developed a mortar round. That is kind of like an antimatter round, but instead of removing itself and anything it touches on impact, it tears space-time for a fraction of a second upon impact, and uses the fallout of that to wreak havoc on an area of not less than 200 meters in every direction. As much as it pains me to say this, but with their simply insane strategy to bring a void vessel into Atmo, deploying its troops like orbital strikes, and the pure insanity that is the weapon of their soldiers, they saved us. No other member of the Council would even think of the idea of using antimatter while in Atmo, or in the general vicinity of the planet. Even less would they think of using the destruction of the fabric of the universe itself to deliver mortar support. The battle, if you can call it that, lasted less than 4 hours, and I can assure the Council that the threat of the rogue AI on the Opera is completely removed. Reluctantly, he added, and we were able to retrieve the remnants of the Third Army, which amounts to 12% of their original fighting strength of 11,000 soldiers. I thank you for your time. After he finished, he could watch the ambassadors whispering and discussing his speech. Some of them looking at the human in shock, some in awe, and some with fear. But I doubt that they would even dare to threaten the humans again after their display on the Opera, given that none other than the humans have even access to enough antimatter to deploy it abundantly as they do. Jules, for his part, understands, after he was part of the Opera, why they didn't made it public that they developed such a thing.